These little kids playing with toys.
Yeah, they're doing crazy stuff. Hey, so what's up, TFWR? Here we are. Great guest today. We've got the Doral Academy High School coaches, as well as their wrestling club, Maximum Performance. They're live today with us from down south to talk a little wrestling. So first of all, they were both state qualifiers. Alexis was a state placer, and they both wrestled at Coral Park. So they've been in South Florida wrestling for their entire life. They've seen it grow. They've seen the sport grow. Hey, so thank you guys. Welcome. How's everything going through this whole pandemic? How has it affected you guys? And also talk about your wrestling career and what you guys are doing now to keep everybody kind of up to speed.
I mean, pretty much pandemic has slowed down everything as business-wise, like for me for work. Kids are dying to get back on the mat and working out. You know, it's slowing everybody down. It's just, you know, a process of everybody doing their own workouts. We'll send them a couple workouts here and there just to try to stay in shape. It's not exactly the same, but, you know, until things start opening back up and we get back into the room, you know, it's just the way it's going to have to be for now. Sure.
And how's the club going down there, Willy?
The club is stopped right now, Dan. You know, just like everybody else. Our wrestling room it's in school. You can see Coach in it right there. That's probably his first day back in the building in like 2 or 3 months, you know, 2 months. And, you know, it sucks because this is the time where you see the most growth out of the kids. This is where they make those giant leaps and strides that they get to catch up to the kids that have been wrestling, you know, longer than them.
Yeah, you know, I have Dale Cody coming on next week. I think he's the president of FAWA and the head coach up here at Masters. And because he released some USA information on kind of what they're going to do to allow you guys to open back up and get the club back open. And then kind of obviously it's not going to be business as usual. You can't just say, hey, Rumble, 250 kids, come on in, right? There's going to be regulations. And I didn't want to read 38 pages. So I was like, hey, bro, can you come on and talk about it? So we're going to have him on next week. And hopefully there'll be some really good questions for him. And I'm sure most of you coaches have been looking into it and you get your alerts. So you're probably up to speed, but it'll be good for you guys to kind of know. Now, have you guys started any one-on-one stuff, any privates, anything that maybe you're allowed to do because there's not a ton of interaction?
No, not really. The only one I've worked with are my kids. All three of my boys are wrestling here at Doral. So I got a mat at home. The only ones I've basically worked with. They've got no choice. The mat's at home, so no excuse.
You know that you send the kids workouts. You don't really know if they're doing it. You hope they do. You know, if they're driven, they will. If they're not, then it'll show it gets opened up.
Yeah. So are you guys doing some virtual stuff for them? Or are you guys sending them links to like Connor Beebe and these different wrestling nations and all sorts of stuff that are doing virtual, like Young Guns? I know Young Guns PA with Jody Stripmiter. I see it all the time. I see the Princeton coach is doing something every morning. And are you guys sending them links like that or just advising them? Or are you guys doing some stuff yourself with your own kids?
I've been sending them links, different workouts, different scenarios, different techniques. I've been sending them through a group chat that I have with all the kids.
That's awesome. It's amazing what the wrestling community has done to create stuff for everyone. And I keep saying this on everything. It's like this secret cult that nobody knows about, but it can fill a soccer stadium. Yep. You know? So is that the club that you're sitting in right now, or is that your house, Willy?
No, this is my house. Alexis is the one. He's at the school. He had to go in today. So he's in our wrestling room over there.
Okay, so your wrestling room and your club are at the school. It's not a separate.
No, they work right out of the same place.
Nice. I know some are separate, you know, some have whatever. So talk about your year. I know that you guys had a good year. As a matter of fact, I was just reading an article where it was talking about one of your kids was getting ready to go up to states, and you guys spoke about a couple kids that you guys had some promising thoughts for, thought maybe he could take it all. How did your guys' year go? How did you end up?
We ended up winning the district. district champs. School hasn't won a district title since I think like 2008.
Nice.
And that was at 1A. Now we're up to 3A, and we won a district title. We took 4th in the region and 13th, I believe, as a team at states. We ended up qualifying 7 kids to the tournament and having 3 placers.
Wow. So that's great, man, to go up there with 7 kids. Our school, the TFA, where my son goes, started like 3 years, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, a program, and they had their first state qualifier last year, so that was cool to experience that. And then this year, their big guy, 195, he was wrestling at 220. He was one of those kids where he couldn't make it down to 195 anymore, but he couldn't get up to 220, so he was kind of at this catch weight. And he placed 6th, so the school had his first ever state placer. So hopefully one day we can get to a point where we're like the Armas brothers. We got 7 going, so it'll be cool, man. Well, congratulations. Got some placers out there. Are they young kids, or are they seniors, or do you have a young program right now where you see a lot of growth coming?
We got a mix. Out of those 7 state qualifiers, 2 were freshmen. One of the placers was also a freshman.
So he's somebody that you can see possibly getting on the podium here. He's got a few years left. Which where are you in 1A now? You were saying?
No, we're 3A. They used to be 1A. We've been 3A. So we're 2A last year.
Oh, 3A. So lucky you.
Yeah.
We had a great year at 2A. Then they're like, hey, guess what? Next year you're going up to 3A. Okay.
But it's like 1A has those small schools, but they're tough. I mean, well, wasn't Key West 1A, or they're 1A now, right?
They're 1A.
Yeah, they've been 1A.
Space Coast is starting to, I mean, they got a great program. LHP, obviously, you know who they are.
Yeah, Somerset, Cardinal Gibbons, all good programs.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. So there was one kid that I was talking to their parents, and I won't say any names, guys, but he was like, oh, we took him out of 1A, sent him to this other school. He's going to be in 3A. He was a placer at 1A. He's going to do better there, and he didn't even make the state tournament. So sometimes be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, no, it happens.
Sometimes it's good where you are. Just keep growing where you are, right? So you guys were wrestlers at Coral Park, and then you ended up, did you guys start the Doral wrestling program, or was it a young program, or was it already around, and then you guys have kind of grown it into what it is today?
The program's been around since 99.
Nice.
It's been up and down. Never been able to really get the program to be a solid, constant program. It's had 1-2 good years and it's fallen apart. Someone's come in, fixed it up a little bit. We came into the program, they didn't have a full squad, a lot of young kids. Kids were really hungry and willing to work. And that's
all you can ask for, right?
They've just bought into everything that me and my brother Willy has been implementing and putting into it, and they've really bought into it, and you're seeing the difference.
That's awesome. Now you have kids on the team. Willy, do you have kids on the team of your own too?
No, I got 2 girls, Dan. I got a senior and one going to 8th grade next year.
Oh, so maybe one day? Close, right?
They both tried it out. They play competitive sports. The senior is a soccer player, and the youngest one, she's a cheerleader. She's been cheering since she was like 3 years old.
Awesome. So being brothers and coaches of the same program, how well are you guys able to kind of separate tasks, or maybe some different personality traits? How do you run the room, and how do you keep your culture into the room, and how are you able to kind of separate duties to kind of grow your team together?
Well, the biggest thing, like Alex said earlier, these kids were hungry. So the hardest thing when you're starting a program is creating that culture and getting those kids to buy in. So that was excellent to jump into, and these kids buying in right away. That's why we were able to take that big jump from year 1 to year 2 that we did, even though we got moved up from 2A to 3A. But man, I don't know
But
how you
there's got to be some moments. I mean, I know you guys are brothers. There's got to be some times where you guys are like,
there's
oh,
no ego. There's definitely
oh,
never any ego in the
just
room.
back off and let me do it.
No, you know what? At
We grew
all.
up together, so we don't, like I already know what he's doing, what he's thinking. He knows what I want to do, what I'm thinking. So, we don't really have to have too many discussions. We have some, but we just know each other already.
So are you guys better at coaching different weight classes or different styles, or is it something where, maybe the younger guys Willy's better at and Alex, you take over the heavy guys, or do you guys let's just go in the room and work?
We're 90% the same kind of wrestler. Okay.
Right.
And obviously we each have our own things that we excel better at. So I'll go and teach one series that I may be better at, and he has another series he may be better at. But as far as like duties are divided, it's the same thing. Like head coach in our room is just on paper, because we literally both do the same duties.
And that's amazing. Well, now that you have 3 kids in your wrestling room that are your own personal kids, and then that must be they're your nephews. And I ask the kids this from the other perspective, like how is it to have dad there? But how are you guys able to separate? Those are my kids and my nephews too. Right now I'm their coach, and I might have to make some hard decisions that they might not like.
I mean, I tell my kids all the time, when I'm in the room, I'm coach. So don't take it the wrong way. When we get home, they'll be mad at me because I was being coach. I'm dad now, changing hats. I went from coach hat, now I'm dad. Whatever happened in the room happened in the room, because I don't expect them, and my kids don't expect us to give them any slack, because they're my sons and they're his nephews. They just got to do the same amount of work as everybody else. But for the most part, my kids, they know better. They come into the room, they know they have to set the example.
That's awesome. How about you, Willy? How is it having your nephews now in the room? Is that special?
It's awesome, man. Honestly, I love it. I love those kids, and I'm blessed that they're self-driven. So I don't, I feel you got to treat them all the same. You can't single them out in the room in front of everybody, because that's not good. That doesn't help either. So you try to treat them all the same. The same expectations from one person is the same for everyone else. But like I said, I'm blessed that they're driven. I don't really have to get on them as much. The little one is probably the one that I'm on the most. And I guess Alexis will let me handle that, because he's a little bit of a knucklehead. Great talented kid, but he can be a handful on his days, that he's not motivated to be there. But he's young still, man. He's 7th grader. He'll be in 8th grade next year. So he still has some maturing to do, but he'll be fine, man. He'll be fine. Super talented kid.
That's awesome, man. I got some other questions, but there's, excuse me, Mike Tackett just posted a question. He said, this is for anybody. So since I have you guys on, he's asking, although early in the off season, how do the current challenges affect your summer camp preparation, as well as preparation going into the fall and winter?
I mean, like we plan ahead. From last summer, we're already planning for this summer. We had a slew of things that we had lined up, like Disney duels we go to. The kids compete at Disney duels, get a bunch of matches in. It's great. We go to camps. We try to hit at least 2 camps, and the whole time the kids are working. Now it kind of throws us in a loop because most of these camps have been canceled. I mean, for the most part, at least everybody's dealing with the same thing. So it's kind of like, I take it as it's a setback to make a big comeback, in the end. Everybody's going to get in there and start grinding out. Sometimes kids need a break. They need a rest, which a lot of guys forget that, hey, these are kids, Sometimes a break helps. Not every kid's the same. Some of these kids are grinders, and they got to be in that room every day, and that's what works for them. But for the most part, I think the kids are going to be fine. It's going to be different this year than it's been all these other years, but I think the kids will be just fine.
Excellent. Mike, I hope that answers your question. Willy, what do you have to say about that?
No, it's going to be different, but like Alexis says, and everybody on your show, everybody's dealing with the same situations, Maybe if you have a room like we do tied to the school facility, we might have some different restrictions where USA might open it up, but if FHSAA doesn't or Doral Academy doesn't, then that might be something else where we got to start looking at different avenues and locations to train. Most people.
I talked to some local clubs down there, and I know Alexis is always involved in the shows because he's always messaging me, and we're always talking back and forth. But I know like Mako and those guys down there have said, hey, look, we have room, and if they open us back up and your schools aren't open, he welcomes everybody to kind of reach out. And I'm sure down in South Dade at Gladiator, I'm sure Duck and B will let you guys in there. And they've all said, everyone that has a separate facility has said, hey, just reach out,
Yeah, that's one of the good things about the wrestling community. I mean, everybody's reaches out, they're open, like, hey, you help me, I'll help you later. And that's just the way it is with wrestling. We can wrestle each other a million times and have a dozen battles, and at the end, everybody's there for the sport, for the kids.
Okay, so he followed up, Willy, with another question. He said, how do you feel about abiding by the rules and not opening your room yet while other programs are practicing under the radar? Do you feel like that puts you behind the ball when things are opening up, when things do open up permittably, I guess?
I guess it would be an unfair advantage to answer his question directly, but it's nothing I can handle. It's not in my business. I can control what I can control. And that there is to it. If people are doing it, then hey, more power to them. Again, not my power, not my business.
Yeah. So back to being dad and uncle. Obviously, I only know what it's like to be a parent in the stands or a parent on the floor watching my kid, and the feelings that I get. How are you guys able to? I mean, what's that like being in the corner of your kids? Because there's got to be some emotional roller coasters, right? Or how are you guys able to control that? And do they listen, or are they like, that's dad?
I used to have hair, Dan. This is what Coach you.
Yeah, he's hiding his.
No, I have no problem with the two older ones. I can coach them without a problem. My youngest one, there's times where I have to let my brother just take over and coach him because he just won't listen. And he looks at you like, what do you know, Dad? I'm like, what do I know? I mean, I've been wrestling since before you were born.
Yeah, I'm the head coach.
I mean, that's just the way it is. A lot of these kids, some just don't listen because it's dad. I mean, it's also a maturity thing with him. Sure. Will?
To me, it's awesome, man. But it's all it's special because they're family. They're my nephews. But I get up for all of them, man. Any of the kids. It could be Larry. It could be Omar. It doesn't matter who it is. Little Jose. When those kids are on the mat, it's like I'm on the mat with them.
That's awesome. So I know people were asking you about your off season. So I mean, it sounds like typically you transition from being the high school team to now being the club team, right? And talk a little bit about what your summer typically looks like, or your spring. Well, I know spring you probably do some AAU stuff, right? And then going into the summer, you start to do your traveling.
Yeah, when they make the transition to Freestyle and Greco, we transition just like everybody else does. I mean, the kids love it because it's, to them, the funner season, because it's a little more lax, and you get to see people getting tossed for 5-point throws and all that stuff. My oldest one was actually on the national team for schoolboys when he was in 8th grade with Coach Abden. I went there with him. So we both have a very good background when it comes to that freestyle and Greco. We both wrestled at Fargo when we wrestled. And as long as the camps and stuff like that, just start switching over towards the end of that freestyle season. We start mixing in folk style a couple of days during the week until we start getting into our camp. Now it's all folk style again, to gearing up for the next season.
Are you guys take them down to, do you guys go down to like Ducks camp and then come up to Central Florida, do some rumbles at the bigger clubs, go out to Disney duels? Do you guys kind of participate in all that when it's up and running?
Yeah, we do everything. The rumbles we haven't really been to, but we go down to Coach Ducks when he has a state champ camp. We go to the inner city wrestling camp with Coach Johnson, Disney duels, Megatron. We've been a couple times.
Yeah, I went to Disney last year for the first time. And I think the best thing that I tell people when I hear them ask about it is that back room. like like you get the dual matches in the big main area, but you get that back room where kids are just lining up and wrestling each other, and you've got real refs there for those lives, and they're just going and going and going and going. I mean, my kid must have got 15, 20 matches back there.
And that's great for the newer kids who really haven't had a lot of mat time. And that one tournament, they're going to get 20 matches. Easy.
Yeah, that was the big takeaway I got from it. Sorry, Willie, I know you were saying something. Sometimes there's a delay, and then I talk over someone, so my bad.
Nah, it's all good. But yeah, just, Fargo's usually end of July, so that's about the time we start transitioning back over to folk style. But yeah, right after the state tournament, I think 2 weeks after, the kids that want to train for NHSCA Nationals will do that, and then after that, it's freestyle and Greco all the way through to summer. I know that a lot of people like throwing folk style events into freestyle Greco season, but I don't really like it. Freestyle Greco is great, man. Like Alex said, it's a change of pace. You're still wrestling, but it's a change of pace, and it's kind of like cross training in a bit. There's a lot more to learn from. You learn how to finish a takedown cleaner from wrestling freestyle, because if you leave your ass up in the air, you're gonna get crotch lift, and there's a lot of things you can take from it. And,
as a matter of fact, now that you're saying that, Willie, a question came up, and since you're about to talk about it, this is probably perfect for you. It said, how much do you think Greco and freestyle impacts your high school season? Do you implement Greco and freestyle into your high school season training? And it sounds like you're saying that it helps them when they get back to folk style.
Absolutely. Wrestling freestyle, you'll learn how to finish your takedowns cleaner. A takedown's still a takedown at the end of the day. It's still going to help you there. There's still plenty of Greco throws you use in freestyle and Greco. But what it really changes is top and bottom. That's where it changes the most. The parterre is completely different folk style. That's why personally, I love them both. I love all three styles. But I like the grind of folk style on top and turning guys and stuff like that. It's a bit more of a grind on top and bottom. So that's why I prefer it. But it's still wrestling at the end of the day. And it's a nice change of pace for the kids, and I'm still a big believer in cross training. So if you're not a football player or going into track or something else, it's a way to keep you active and still grow in the sport of wrestling.
Nice. So it sounds like the Doral Academy's got a great coaching staff over there, man. That's fun. I mean, is there anything that you guys want to discuss about wrestling? Is there anything you want to discuss about the state? What is your opinion? First of all, how far has Florida wrestling come since you guys have been involved in it? I think you guys have been involved your whole life. And then second of all is how important will it be to the growth of Florida wrestling to get the girls sanctioned?
Oh man, I think what's going on with the girls wrestling is unbelievable. I mean, it has grown so much in such a short time. We have a girl on our team right now, Savannah, and she's in middle school, and the opportunities that have opened up for her now, it's great. Where it is, she can actually wrestle in high school now and have her own actual sanctioned tournament from the FHSA, and go to college, get a degree, and do something with herself through the sport of wrestling.
And that's what's so important about getting it sanctioned. I'm trying to get some. I don't know if you guys saw, but I had all the girls on, or a lot of them on early on, with Lindsay and their coaches and Steve Hall, and then I'm trying to get some women coaches. I've had a few. I had an old 4-time state placer, but I've reached out to a few world team members, not just USA world team members, New Zealand, Australia, like a lot of these other countries, and they've all accepted to come on. A couple of them have accepted to come on, so I'm trying to get them on. And I just this morning there's the head women's coach of Lords. I had their men's coach on yesterday. She signed up this morning. She's coming on. So I am definitely trying to give women their voice too, so they can get heard. I mean, I have 2 boys. I don't have a daughter, but I'm also not like, I wasn't born in 1920 either. So like, let them wrestle. I mean, what the hell?
Oh, hell yeah. Let them wrestle. I agree.
Absolutely. Hopefully it gets sanctioned soon, man. was disappointed here. I guess it's just a roadblock, and it just needs to get done already.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to, I forget who it was down there, but somebody that maybe he's in charge of the South Beach tournament or something. I don't know, but he said that last year they had 6 girls there at the tournament. This year they had 60.
Oh, he was Coach Held from Cypress Bay.
Yeah, and next year he said, I mean, it could be over 100. So it's amazing. That was the question I was going to add. In your opinion, how can we further promote girls wrestling in Florida? So Julio A. de Armas has chimed in, but I think I asked you the question already. So he said, thank you for asking that question.
I might know that guy.
Yeah. It sounds like, it's not like the last name is like Smith or Gomez or Dominguez. So I'm sure de Armas is not.
That's our oldest brother who also wrestled.
Oh, nice. Oh, he's the ugly one, you said?
I said he's the one who started it all.
That's funny.
Yeah, so back in the days, football coaches used to push athletes to other sports, and one of them was wrestling. So when he was a freshman at Crow Park playing football, they told him, hey, listen, you want to play football next year, you need to wrestle. So we walked into the room, and, you got all these hammers, George Borgen, Marlon Telez, little Pee Wee. There was just a phenomenal team that they had. And me and Alexis were walking in there watching this, wow, this is cool. We need to do this,
Yeah, Marlon Telez has been, I can't say enough about that guy. I've not met him personally. I've not even talked to him. However, man, the numbers and the people that he sends me to get in contact with and to call and the recommendations, he must be deeply rooted down there.
Yeah, he was a state champ in Florida.
Wow, I told the last guy I was talking to, I knew about this much when I started the show, and now I'm about to hear. So I'm getting better. I think I was talking to someone the other day, and I'm like, hey, listen to that. I sound like I know what I'm talking about. Because I was like, well, that club guy's doing this, and I know that guy's doing that. I was like, I actually sound like I know what I'm talking about. As a matter of fact, I sent out these 10 questions that we're about to go over, right? And you hear them all the time, right? So I send out a question. So Ricky had come with like 10 questions, but it was more like food and stuff like that. So then I was getting some feedback like, hey, change them up a little bit. So I sent out a text. You guys probably saw it, or a message on things, send out questions. So one of the questions that came back was Loudon, Swain, or Brian Shoot, right? And I've been asking this question for 3 weeks. I didn't even know who they were. And I was asking these questions, and people are laughing, and people are like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's great. I'm pretending like I know what I'm doing. So finally this past weekend, I said, I better watch that show. So I found it on Amazon or whatever it's called, the Fire Stick thing. And I found it and I watched it. So now when I ask the question, I actually know who the hell they are, but I haven't known who they are for weeks. I've been asking the question. So it was pretty funny. I tell people the story and they start laughing. All right, guys. So now you can either answer this as a coach for your team or as wrestlers yourself. So either way. So you're down by 3 going into the third period. You have choice. Are you guys going top, bottom, or neutral?
I'm going down.
Down. Do you guys prefer folk style or freestyle?
I'll take folk. I actually would pick Greco, but wasn't an option.
Oh, well, maybe I should add it. Headgear or no headgear?
No headgear.
It's funny. Everybody says no headgear, right? Yesterday, I had one of the Basile boys, the older one, Ethan. And he said, look, I don't care. I go no headgear, whatever. But he said, the headgear to me is that when I put it on, that's my switch. He's like, I know when it goes onto my head, it's like that. It's like that thing that tells me, okay, I'm ready. It's like a cop putting on his uniform, a football player putting on his helmet. He said that's the way it feels to him. So, but other than that, everybody says no. All right. So only one day to train. Do you guys take your team to a rumble or a clinic?
Depends who's holding the clinic.
That's what people say, but I don't know who's holding the clinic. So
I really think it depends on what's going in your training regimen. I think you need both.
Yeah.
I think as a competitor, you want to go to a rumble and compete and beat people up and get beat up a little bit. But I think you really need both.
Oh, here it is. Loudon or Swain, who wins the rematch?
You gotta say
I go for Swain.
It's gotta be shoot, man. You saw that guy train before the loss. Imagine after a loss, how he's gonna come back.
He's definitely not gonna. He's gonna avoid that over/under tie. He's not gonna get tossed.
Coach George said, "Hey, man, I don't like it. As soon as I saw Swain stop running after work and start jumping on the bike to get a ride home, he's like, that's it. I thought he lost his edge right there." What title holds more prestige, 32 or Fargo?
Fargo.
I'd say Fargo. Yeah, I'd have to go Fargo.
Well, I've tried to add, I think I should add this question because this question always leads me to another one. How close, and I keep asking people, how close is Florida's knockout to being in the conversation?
It's up there, man. You get hammers from that whole East Coast, man. It's starting to turn like a nice little Beast of the East style tournament, and you're getting a lot of hammers going to that tournament, man. He's done a great job there, Coach Bird.
Toughest tournament in the Southeast. It needs to get a few more teams from, the northern states and probably Midwest states, and then it can be up there for sure. But in the Southeast area, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, it's definitely the toughest tournament.
What's more dominant, a pin or a tech?
Tech fall.
Tech fall. Because anybody can get pinned, right? You can get caught.
You get caught, get pinned. Yep.
Yeah, I was watching that. What's that tournament up in New York City that's held at the end of the summer?
Beat the Streets?
Or the Bill Ferrell?
I think it's the Bill Ferrell. Yeah, I'm the one. Boussakis was up in the finals like 10-2 or something, and then got caught with the arm throw.
Yes,
last year. Yeah, yes. I said so. If that guy can get caught, anybody can get caught.
And if you got a tech fall, man, you just technically dominated and beat that guy up.
Ethan said yesterday, yeah, if you get tech, you got to reevaluate your life. That's what he said.
Step back and be like, okay, what just happened here?
Yeah, you got to reevaluate yourself. And he said, I asked him about his little brother. He's like, he's easy work. All right, so wings or burger?
Wings.
Yeah, I have to go with wings.
I like wings too. Popeyes or Chick-fil-A?
I go Popeyes.
I like Popeye. See, good old South Florida guys.
Hey.
There used to be a pizza place up in Hollywood called Villa Rose. I think I talked to Alan Held about it. He was like, I still go there. That was, I used to love that place, but I don't know why I said that, but I just thought about that pizza place. That's my ADD. That's my ADD kicking in. Arroz con pollo or arroz con gandules?
Arroz con pollo.
Pollo.
Yeah. I
get that. You guys prefer the gandules or the black beans and rice?
Black beans.
I think in South Florida, that's the way we grew up. I'm a gringo, right? But I grew up in South Florida, so I grew up with that culture. And I remember, since I can remember, my dad would pick me up from elementary school and he would take me. There used to be this little cafe on Miami Beach back when it was only Miami Beach, not what it is now. And he would always get me I remember him the first time I ever had it, he was like, here, try this, you'll like it. And it was black beans and rice. And to this day, we got a place up here called the Black Bean Deli, and it's a Cuban family. And sometimes I'll just stop in there just to get a small order of rice and black beans, man. I still love it. But if my mother-in-law's watching, your gandules is the best. Don't worry, I love your food better. I don't want to get in trouble.
You'll be all right.
Oh yeah, man. Hey guys, this is awesome, man. I'm so glad I had both of you on here. I hope we spoke about everything you want to speak about. If there's anything else you want to discuss, speak now or before we bounce.
Shout out to Doral Wrestling, Massive Performance, and South Florida Wrestling as a whole. Just keep working together. Gladiator, ICW, Maximum Performance, Eagle Empire, everybody. Let's just keep growing this thing.
Yeah, man. And anybody you guys know that would be great to have on. Any kids, state qualifiers, state placers, no placers, 7th, 8th graders that you think are doing well that could be on here, whatever. I don't care. I just want people to see what wrestling's doing for life. So if you guys have anybody, hit me up. I know Alexis, you always do that on messages. I know, like I said with Marlon, he's posted now. I mean, he sent me Husk.
Ask him who got the last takedown.
Hey Marlon, if you're listening, who got the last takedown? Let's see if he's still on here. I don't know if he's still watching or not. But hey, man, I finally figured out how to put a link on here when I'm posting. So I do have a YouTube page where I've been storing all these interviews. So if you guys go on and subscribe, I appreciate it. I did finally create kind of a fan page for my show that I can store stuff on Facebook so people don't have to scroll through all this later on. I don't know if you can join yet or not. I do have the link there, but my marketing guys that I work with on the real estate side, they're kind of helping me with that because it's been tough for me. Oh, Marlon said he tripped.
Oh. So that's the answer we're gonna go with. I tripped. Okay.
That's the answer. I tripped. So yeah, man. But please, I got an Instagram going. I started putting all the videos on there. So anybody out there, you can find the platform not just on the Florida Wrestling. I know that I go live here. However, I do get the questions a lot, like where can I go, so I don't have to sort through everything to find. You can go there. I've got it's going to be called Ward Wrestling Live, is what that segment's going to be called, so that people will know where to go. It's my last name. But yeah, man, feel free to go there, watch the interviews, share them with people, and anytime you guys want to talk, you got the link. Just man, hit me up. Let's talk. I don't mind. I'd like to do some morning Instagram stuff before I start these shows. If you guys ever want to do like a coffee talk and just BS on Instagram, we can do stuff like that too, man. I'm cool with that.
Sounds great, man. You're doing a great job, Dan. You're really doing great. Keep it up. You know, it's great for the sport. It's great for wrestling. People are seeing more of it, you know, especially now that people are locked out from it. You know, we're able to tap in. Like I know myself, every time I see my phone go off, oh, he's on his live, put it on and listen to it. I got to hear some wrestling.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. And what I try to do, and I think maybe you've noticed, is I try to also share it into like 30 different rooms. So far, they haven't kicked me out yet. They've accepted my interviews. And listen, we're in Florida, and I'm sharing this in the New York wrestling room, the Wyoming wrestling room, the Illinois wrestling room, so all over. So I'm hoping that the country can see that, yo, Florida's got some ballers, man, and we're growing and we're getting there. And that doesn't mean I'm interviewing coaches from all over the place. I'm interviewing wrestlers that don't have anything to do with Florida, but the Florida is the bulk of what I'm doing, and people are seeing it. So hopefully they're out there going, you know, we got to put Florida in the conversation, man. We got some good kids down here.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, I forgot to give some love to my War Eagles up in Jacksonville, Coach PJ. Phenomenal job up there too, man. Keep it up.
Yeah.
All those guys, CFWA, you already know them all.
Yeah, I mean, I do now because I'm talking to them. Hey, man, I want one of them dope, those dope shirts right there that have the old Art Deco colors. How do I get one?
When we make a new set, we'll get them to you, man.
Yeah, let me know. I love it. That's from my time with the Art Deco. You know, I'm 40. I'm going to be 44 next month. So I remember when like Picasso made the islands pink. Yeah, man, it's my time. Hey guys, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you for everything you do for the kids, for the wrestling community, for South Florida. You know, I was born and raised in the county of Dade, so it's still part of my blood, man. Go Canes. Go Canes. You know I'm repping right here. Check it out.
Sweet.
That's my U.
Yes, sir.
And we're stepping on that gator.
Always.
All right, guys.
All right,
see you, man.
Care, Dan. Thank you.